Hello, 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 everyone. And I am so happy to be with you here today. I love our little community. I love that we are able to give and take and share with each other on how to make our gluten-free adventures go easier. So it is an absolute joy to meet with you today. My name is Miri Pizann. I am a gluten-free coach. I have been gluten-free for about a decade at this point, and I remember what it was like when I first had to go gluten-free. I felt like the only safe thing to eat was ice cubes and raw lettuce because nothing else was safe. It felt like everything had gluten in it, right? But I've come a long way since then. I've learned a lot of ropes, although as with all of us, there's still plenty more for me to learn, but I am happy to share what I have garnered with you, with this beautiful community of wonderful gluten-free adventurers. So let's see. Yeah. And my goal is to make life easier for all of us, right? So oh, this is great. I see that there are some people hopping in today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Be sure to say hi, leave a comment, let us know how you're doing today. Okay, so today's topic is getting support on your gluten-free adventure. And as much as I would like to say that, this is something that you can go ahead and do by yourself, it's really not true. Part of my whole ethos with all of this is that as much as, the doctor says, oh, just cut out bread and pasta, or maybe even your doctor knows enough to say, like, watch out for soy sauce, watch out for these additives. That still doesn't encompass everything that it takes to go into being gluten-free, because if you are on a restricted diet for, the rest of your life, this is going to affect your family. This is going to affect how you interact with your friends, your boss, your job. And, let's face it, it also impacts the purse, the wallet, right? Gluten-free is expensive. And so it's difficult to go through an adventure like this on your own. Is it possible? Yes. Is it fun? Is it an exciting adventure at that point? Not as much, life is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be for all of us to get together and to go do it together. And so when we are removing ourselves from social situations that include food, it can be really isolating and it can hurt, right? So the goal is to not have to do that. The goal is to get people in and on your side and wanting to help you. But that can seem like an overwhelming situation sometimes. And, for some folks, it's super, super easy. You just say, this is what I need. Your friends step up, they're awesome, and you're off to the races. And it's fabulous. But for other people, it can be really difficult to actually ask for the help. And so I wanted to talk about that today. One of the concepts that I have seen floating around the internet lately is the idea of the difference between ask culture and guess culture. And ask culture means that if you have a need, you just say, can I have this? And you expect people to say yes or no. And if the answer is yes, fabulous. And if the answer is no, okay, no skin off my back, I'll go figure out another way to do this. And the expectation is that when people are responding to you with yes or no, they are evaluating where they are in this particular moment. Do I have the resources to be able to share with you? Do I have the time or whatever? And they give you an honest answer. Yes, I have the resources and I am able to share this with you. Or no, I'm really not able to. Now, so that's the ask culture. And then there's also what's called guest culture. And guest culture usually comes from tight knit communities of one sort or another, where everybody pretty much shares the same values and kind of the same shorthand for a lot of things. And so it becomes it in the guest culture, it's considered rude to just ask straightforward, because you need to kind of figure out whether or not it's like whether or not it's what you're asking for is something that other people can accommodate. And I've seen a lot of different ways that this plays out. Sometimes it's about hurt feelings. Sometimes it's about, well, it's rude to say, do you have enough money to cover this or whatever? But there's a lot of different ways that guest culture can come up. But the end result is that the person who is asking, like if you don't already know that the answer is probably a yes, then you shouldn't ask. You should continue to put out feelers. Both systems work, and both systems work well. The challenge is when the two cross, or when you have two people from two different guest cultures, the values or the shorthand is different, trying to interact, because one person is going to be like, how rude of you, why would you even ask me that, I would have to say no, and the other person's like, well, how else am I going to find out if you're going to say yes or not, and or it's, why would you ask me that anyway? So that's a broad, brief description of ask culture versus guest culture. Oh, hi, Mary. It's great to see you. I always say I will bring my own food if it's not at a restaurant. See, there you go. That is an example of the ask culture. You are taking care of yourself, or actually, I'm not sure. I can't quite tell. That could be from guest culture if you're not asking. But the point that I'm trying to make is that, especially with gluten-free, with food allergies, it becomes really important for you to find a way for you to recruit people to kind of be on your side, right? So, and that can look like a bunch of different things. It can look like friends who are willing to take the time and the energy to learn how to cook for you, friends or family. That can also look like, you know, a friend saying, okay, let's go out to eat. You choose so that we can make sure that we eat in the safe place for you. But like, this really is a situation where you need to ask. And so you need to be very clear in your communication. So if you are in a guest culture, and if you are using the same shorthand as those around you, then you can use, you can maneuver within that situation and figure out how to find people who will help you and volunteer to help you. But a lot of times we're either in opposing guest culture, or where one person's a guest and one person's an ask. And so this is where it really helps to step out of your comfort zone, to step out of what feels safe, and just ask, because there's not a lot of shorthand in these very tight-knit communities. And like I said, there could be very different shorthand between the two communities. So even if you're in a guest culture, it helps to just ask, this is what I need. Can you help me? And if the answer is no, that's okay. That is not a personal statement about you. What you need to understand is that this is just them saying, I don't have the resources to be able to help you this way. But you can also ask for different things, like what Mary said. If you don't think it'll be okay for them to provide a full meal for you, ask if it's okay for you to bring food that's safe for you yourself so that you are still covered, right? But the goal really is to transform your community to make it more inclusive for you. And, if you are able to make it more inclusive for other people who also have different food allergies. Wouldn't that be amazing if, your cousin is soy free and you're gluten free, and then both of you would be able to eat at Thanksgiving dinner? But you need to like work those connections one by one, and you need to stay very strong in your sense of self in order to do this. And what I mean by that is, don't let them push you around. Don't let them make you feel bad for saying, yes, actually one little bite will hurt. Or, or, like, you can be firm and strong in your knowledge of yourself and still loving and able to have a caring communication with kindness. So, unfortunately, trying to speak about this at a very high level general terms is a little bit difficult, because a lot of times it's easier when you know like a particular person and how they would react. How once you have that, you can kind of figure out like, okay, here's what we need to say in order to help to have them recruited onto Team Adventure. So let's see what else. The other thing is that, the best way to get help from your community is to to have an advocate. And most of the time, the very first advocate you're going to have has to be you. It just has to. It has to start with you. But as you stand firm in your understanding that I am an advocate for myself, that resolution inspires the people around you, right? And as they are inspired, they are more likely to step over to Team Adventure with you. So I just want to make sure that you are remembering that you, before anybody else can be an advocate for you, you need to step up and be your advocate for yourself. In my experience, you get the best support when you verbally say it. This is what I need help with. So that is everything that I have for you today. If you have any questions, please do drop them into the chat. I am happy to talk with you about any of this. And if you have questions about something else, or if you're looking for help with something in particular, drop me a DM. I will be happy to chat about it with you. Okay. So have a fabulous Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will talk with you again real soon next week. Same bat time, same bat station. Okay. Bye, everybody.